Good afternoon, evening. No, afternoon, I think still. Yeah. We'll call it afternoon, 4 o'clock. Good afternoon, people and peepettes. Right? I'm just going to let you know that I didn't end up in the nut house. I got let down, screwed over, however you want to word it, by the system. Yeah, again. These things happen. I'm sure there's worse things happen at sea, as Monty Python once said. But anyway, that happened. But I was just thinking, I put a couple of posts on my other social media, my normal social medias today. One was an RIP for Lee Rigby, who got slaughtered, almost decapitated. I can't remember the year. I'm trying to think, I can't remember the year. He was a Royal Fusilier. And today is also the anniversary of the Manchester Arena bombing. Does that make you think? Make you sit back and think. And I think Lee Rigby, because it was early doors. I was living in Barton at the time. So it might have been 213, 215, something like that. I was living in Barton. And that was probably about, although we'd had the 7/7 bombings and stuff, that was the first, as far as I can recall, we had the Irish issue in the 70s, 80s, early 90s. But when it comes to the Islamists, that was one of the first personal attacks that we'd had. I mean, we'd had 7/7 in, I think, I don't know, no way. My head's messed at the minute with so many things. So I'm losing track of dates. But I think the Lee Rigby thing was one of the first things that brought it to a point in our heads. And then obviously, like I said, we're also remembering today the Ariana Grande concert attack in Manchester. And I've been to the memorial site at what is now the AO Arena. And fuck me, does that kill. Yet we still don't seem to have learned. Excuse me. We still don't seem to have learned. We're still letting. I'm having a shitty noodly thing for tea. For memory. We still don't seem to have learned. The governments, and not just, Keir Starmer's a cunt of the highest order. And there's nobody on this planet that can deny that. Right? But this has been going on through the Tories, which, as Keir Starmer will tell you, 14 years of blah, blah, blah. Because I don't know how long it's going to take him to be in government before he actually starts accepting his own responsibilities. But it was Tony Blair in 97 through Labour that started that open door policy. It was them. It was Labour that started it. And it's them that's going to have to fucking finish it before it becomes a problem. But Tony Starmer, Keir Starmer, doesn't want to finish it. He wants that level of scum in the country. But yes, going back to what I was saying. Today is an horrific day in English or British history. 2 major attacks on our democracy, on our freedom, and on our people. One on a serving soldier, and the second one on an arena full of young girls, predominantly young teenagers, watching Ariana Grande. Now, no matter what you think of her as an artist, a singer, or whatever, them girls, them women, I don't know if there was a man. I think there was one man died in the attack as well. And the security were concerned about the bomber, but didn't want to approach him because they didn't want to look racist. I'd rather look like a fucking the most Nazi racist cunt in the world and save people's lives. But no. And this is how bad it's been for so many years. So today is a black day. Today is probably Britain's version of America's 9/11. Excuse me. Today is probably worse than our 7/7 bomb attacks on London Bridge. And the other one, I can't remember the date. Today is probably our 9/11 Memorial Day. It's up there with the worst of the worst. And yet people, I've put the news on today. I've put Sly News on. I've put Lamestein Media News on. And there has been very, very little, if any, coverage of those two atrocities. But they'll talk about Israel, they'll talk about Ukraine, they'll talk about Gaza, they'll talk about Russia. They'll talk about Sudan, Syria, Eritrea, a place I never fucking heard of until they started coming over and raping our kids. Why won't these people look after ours? Like I said this morning on one of my videos, there was a Middle Eastern man, Eastern Europe man, Eastern European, that got sentenced for raping a 15-year-old girl in a care home. I can't remember how long he got, but he got it suspended for 2 years. But we'll talk about the atrocities that Benjamin Netanyahu's causing, the atrocities that Hezbollah are causing, the atrocities that Russia or Ukraine are causing on each other. But we will not remember our hero Lee Rigby or our darling angels at the Manchester Arena bombing. How long before those three beautiful little angels at Southport, how long before they are forgotten in the name of, what was it, at Manchester? Don't look back in anger. You tell me how, if you've got kids or grandkids, you're not going to look back in anger. Because I fucking am every single fucking day. Take care, look after yourselves, friends, family, elders, as well as neighbours, people around your table, people to the other side of the world, people in the streets, yourself. Stay safe, stay loud, stay proud, stay guarded. Peace.